Picture this. The year is 800 BCE. You're in the blazing heat of the Sinai desert, surrounded by ancient turquoise mines and an ominous temple to the Egyptian goddess Hathor. Somewhere in this sandy expanse, someone is scratching the word's first alphabet onto stone. Was it a creative genius? A rebellious miner? Or maybe just a bored guy with a chisel and no Wi-Fi? Welcome to the mystery of Proto-Sinaitic script. This isn't just some dusty academic topic. Oh no, this is drama, this is intrigue, this is ancient people low-key inventing the alphabet while everyone else was still drawing cows on cave walls. So who exactly came up with this script that changed human history? Let's dive into the theories and maybe stir up some controversy along the way. The Proto-Sinaitic script emerged in a time when Egypt was the powerhouse of the ancient world. The Sinai region was a hub of activity. Think of it as the Las Vegas of turquoise mining, minus the casinos and Elvis impersonators. Egyptians dominated the area, but they didn't work alone. They brought in Semitic-speaking laborers from nearby Canaan, who were probably muttering under their breath about the horrible work conditions. Imagine it, Semitic miners exhausted after a 12-hour shift, looking at the Egyptian hieroglyphs and thinking, why is the writing system so complicated? I just want to write, I hate my boss, not carve an entire mural, and thus the idea for a simpler phonetic alphabet was born. Or so one theory goes. Okay, imagine this. You're a miner in 800 BCE, surrounded by grumpy coworkers and relentless taskmasters. You see Egyptian hieroglyphs everywhere. On temple walls, on the boss's records, maybe even on the lunchroom tablet saying, no free snacks. And you think to yourself, why do the Egyptians need thousands of these symbols? Couldn't we simplify this mess?
That's genius, mate. Now we can finally write, don't touch my pickaxe, without spending a whole day on it.
Sure, the miners might not have been Shakespeare, but their genius was in the simplicity. By assigning individual sounds to symbols, they created a script that anyone could learn. Well, anyone willing to carry a 20-pound tablet to class. Oh, and by the way, the pioneer of this theory is William Flinders Petrie, who discovered the Proto-Sinaitic inscriptions at Serabit el-Khadim in the Sinai Peninsula, and who argued that the workers, being exposed to Egyptian writing in the mines, creatively repurposed hieroglyphic symbols to suit their Semitic language needs. Then there's the idea of Joseph Nave and Anson Rainey, that Egyptian scribes were the real heroes of the story, or at least co-conspirators. Picture this, a scribe sees the miners fumbling with hieroglyphs and steps in to help. Look, you don't need 30 symbols for one word. Just take this bird symbol, flip it, and call it a B. You're welcome, that'll be 2 chickens as payment. This theory makes sense when you consider the evidence. The scribes had the technical knowledge to adapt hieroglyphs for a new purpose. But let's be honest, this probably wasn't an act of charity. It's more like the scribes thought, if these miners are going to graffiti stuff, they might as well do it right. And now the DIY theory, which was suggested by Orly Goldwasser. This one paints the Semitic-speaking workers as total visionaries. No scribes, no Egyptian help, just sheer creativity born out of necessity and practical needs. It's the ultimate underdog story. The miners, armed only with grit and a chisel, inventing the first alphabet while everyone else was still obsessed with cows and birds. But here's the kicker. How likely is it that these miners, who didn't have formal training, pulled this off alone? This theory is both inspiring and, frankly, a bit unbelievable. It's like saying someone with no cooking experience accidentally invented pizza. Sure, it's possible, but it feels like there's a missing piece somewhere. Unlike the Canaanite miners in Sinai or Egyptians themselves, some scholars like Frank Moore Cross believe the alphabet was invented right here in the Levant area, modern-day Israel, Palestine, Lebanon, and Syria. As an adaptation of various writing systems, including Egyptian hieroglyphs and Mesopotamian cuneiform. Traders and scribes needed something quick and easy. No fancy falcons or snakes, just simple symbols for sounds. They took everyday objects like houses and oxen and turned them into a phonetic writing system. This theory sees the Levant as a melting pot where Semitic-speaking populations encountered diverse cultural and linguistic influences. These interactions may have inspired them to create a simplified and phonetic system tailored to their linguistic needs. Instead of borrowing wholesale, these communities selectively adapted ideas from neighboring systems, streamlining them into practical phonetic script. All right, now let's get into the juicy stuff, the evidence. Inscriptions like this one from Serabit al-Khadim hold the key to this mystery. These symbols are clearly inspired by Egyptian hieroglyphs, but they're doing their own thing. It's like the difference between a classical symphony and a garage band. They're related, but one's much more, let's say, raw. Take this hieroglyph for per, meaning house. It's a cute little floor plan. The miners, or whoever invented Proto-Sinaitic, turned it into the bet, the letter B. Simple, right? Now you can go from per to Betty's house in one easy step. This suggests a practical need for workers to document names or inventory in their own language. Here's another one, the Egyptian symbol for an ox head. In Proto-Sinaitic, this becomes Aleph, the letter A. Fun fact, Aleph means ox in Semitic languages, so it's not just phonetic, it's a literal picture of what the sound represents. It's like ancient emoji culture, but with more chiseling involved. Now here's where it gets exciting. These symbols didn't just stop at Proto-Sinaitic, they evolved. Over centuries, they transformed into Phoenician letters, then Greek, and eventually the Latin alphabet we use today. So yeah, you could say the script is the great-grandparent of your keyboard. Alright, let's stir the pot. Not everyone agrees on the Proto-Sinaitic origin story. Some scholars argue that the Egyptians didn't influence it at all, that it's purely Semitic innovation. Others say, no way, the miners weren't skilled enough to pull this off alone. Then there's the theory that Proto-Sinaitic wasn't even an alphabet at first. It was just a semi-functional experiment. On Team Minor, we've got the underdog innovators who supposedly change history with hammer and sheer determination. On the Team Scribe, we've got the trained professionals saying, sit down miners, we'll handle this. And in the middle, we've got chaos. Yes, even aliens get dragged into this debate sometimes. Look, I love a good conspiracy, but let's keep our feet on the ground, preferably in the Sinai Desert, where the actual evidence is. The real controversy is this. Was Proto-Sinaitic a flash of brilliance from an oppressed people, a collaborative effort between classes, or just a happy accident like penicillin, but with rocks? And here's the spicy question. If the Egyptians did help, why don't they get more credit? Are we guilty of brushing them aside to make this a better underdog story? Or are the miners the unsung geniuses we've overlooked for too long? Either way, it's a plot twist worthy of Netflix. At the end of the day, we may never know exactly who invented Proto-Sinaitic. Was it the miners, the scribes, people in the Levant, or all three of them? Whoever it was, they set off a chain reaction that led to the alphabets we use today. So next time you write a text or tweet, take a moment to thank those ancient innovators who are carving history. Literally. And now I leave the mystery to you. Who do you think invented Proto-Sinaitic? Let me know in the comments, because if there's one thing that hasn't changed in 4,000 years, it's people debating stuff. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more historical mysteries. Until next time, keep asking questions and maybe invent your own alphabet while you're at it. Take care.